Hey friends, thank you so much for joining us. This is going to be a very fun video. We're in December, so the holiday season come close to Christmas, and I decided it'd be fun to talk about maybe one of my all-time favorite movies with one of my good friends here, Stephanie from Movie Chatter. Stephanie, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, John. Thank you for the invite. I always love to chat with you.
Absolutely. I thought, what better? I know you're a fan of the film, and I thought it'd be fun to have this conversation.
Yeah. And I'm questionable about the whole holiday season. So, I wish the whole year was Halloween. So you've
Well,
really torn me out of my crypt to come in here and talk about this.
well, you sent me Krampus last year, so I feel like this is only
I
fair.
This is
So
fair. And you know what? I'm happy to do it because this is actually a really good movie. So
it is. And
yeah.
I did ask my wife if she would watch Krampus with me this year. And I got a
And
very firm no on that one. So, but I will be watching it. I'll be watching it and it'll be great. So,
I
yeah.
feel like I should mail her some gingerbread cookies.
No, it's nothing. Walking
Nothing can do it.
Dead, I've begged Walking Dead, nothing. It's not going to happen. So it's all
So,
good.
so she's less horror than you.
Oh, by far. And I'm not horror at all. So,
Ah.
but Krampus, I did enjoy it. So I do plan on watching it. It's going to be a part of my every Christmas, the
You're
rotation.
you're a little more horror than you think.
It's true. It's probably true.
Yeah, like the curtain is falling slowly. It's the curtain is sliding. It's gone
Yeah.
from like a full lockdown to like maybe we see like an eyelid coming out. Your secret's out, John.
I will say it's definitely got to be, well, you talk about on your channel all the time, like genres of horror. There's
Right,
definitely certain ones that are like not going to ever happen. But
right.
there's others that I'm definitely open to. Like the zombie thing for sure.
Yeah.
I'm more cool with that, but yeah. And
And
the
if I'm
Krampus stuff,
being yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, when you and Dave were talking about it, you mentioned it's almost like folk
It's
horror.
folklore. Yeah,
And I
folklore.
loved it. I was like, it
Yeah.
was almost like interesting, like, huh, that's an interesting
Yeah.
tradition to have or folklore to have.
Yeah.
So yeah, I took the film that way too.
Yeah. And like I was going to say, if I'm being perfectly honest, there are plenty of genres, subgenres, bits of horror that I have no plans of revisiting.
Okay. Yeah.
And the older I get, the longer that list gets because my tolerance level for certain things that I find unnecessary for me. No shame if other people enjoy it. That's
Right.
cool. They bring no value to me.
Sure.
And if it doesn't bring value, and if I find it too upsetting or unnecessary or just over the top, I just have purged it from my collection because it's not something that fits where I am. And that's why we think, that's why we go with it's important to keep your collection moving
Mhm.
because your taste change. And it doesn't make me any less of a horror fan. I just like different things. And just like you, it doesn't make you any less. You can enjoy horror, but not identify yourself as like, oh, well, I'm a diehard horror fan. There's plenty of things, very modern things that I knew I want nothing to do with.
Mhm.
And I find myself going to the classics a lot and the tried and true. And am I a horror fan? Absolutely. I love it. But I still have limits and boundaries of what I can tolerate.
Right.
I don't want to be upset and shaken by something that I'm watching. That's not enjoyable to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when people say I don't do horror, I get it.
Yep.
But sometimes they say there are parts of it that you might enjoy, but maybe you haven't been exposed to yet.
Hmm.
And not pushing it on them, but there's a lot more to it than maybe what's shoved down your throat on a regular basis.
Sure. Yeah.
There's a lot of things that are encompassed in that genre that maybe it's like, oh, I didn't realize that, or I didn't realize this. And like, yeah, you just like certain parts of it.
Hmm.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
I like it.
So I do have some in my Christmas. Well, I have that in my Christmas watch
Walking Dead
list.
John.
I've got two. I just put it in a haul video I just recorded the other day, but on eBay I found a lot, 5 seasons, all sealed with slips, for $29. So it's six
Oh my
dollars a
God.
season. So I'm 2 seasons away,
That's awesome.
and then I'll binge the entire thing. So I've only
Wow.
seen the first 4 seasons, so I'm looking forward to finishing it up.
Cool.
Yeah, so it'll be fun.
Nice. All right.
All right, but friends, that's horror. But we're here to talk about It's a Wonderful Life. I don't think Jimmy Stewart ever did a horror film. Well, no, he did because it's a
He
mild, I
did
guess.
well, he did Rope, which was a
Hitchcock
thriller.
stuff. Yeah.
Rope. And he
Yeah.
did North by Northwest and more thriller things, I would say.
Yeah. But this is the kind of Jimmy Stewart I love, is the everyman, super innocent, sweet guy. So yeah, and I will say I don't know if this video will come up before. I do have a video where I confess my love, maybe my too much of a love for this film, because I have multiple editions of it. And I know I've been watching through your collection videos, your Blu-ray collection videos, and you tell us when you have doubles. I have multiple editions. So this was the first one I ever purchased.
Okay.
And I won't go through all of the details over each one, but I do have a video coming out of all of these. Then you gifted me this edition.
I love that one.
Is, I think, I said it in the video that'll be coming out soon, by far the most beautiful artwork on any film I have. I just absolutely adore this one.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And then I did recently grab this at Target.
I did see that in the video.
Also,
I love that.
But it has the beautiful bell inside, which is fantastic.
Nice. It's perfect.
And then this Wonderful Life, also a Blu-ray. But as you'll see in the video coming up very soon, there's something different about all four of those editions. Why I would have all four. Lots of differences. So yeah,
well,
I'm a big fan.
I am a fan of collecting for like your top 5 favorite movies.
Sure.
And I think I went over that like in my horror collection, especially when I was talking about like my Friday the 13th collection. There are certain films that I will collect for. Mm-hmm. And like anything and everything is up for grabs, from VHS right on down the line. But I actually I brought 2 of my 3 copies of It's a Wonderful Life. And I'm not going to talk about the differences because that's your video. But I have my 4K.
The slip is awesome on that.
Which, yeah, I really like this one. And I think this was a review copy. And then because I had purchased one of this, I have the Steelbook as well that you have.
Okay.
And then this was actually a review copy, and I was shocked, but I kept it because I thought it was great. And it's this one that you just got.
So great.
And I'm not going to go into this one either because I know you're going to do that in your video, and I don't want to ruin your video. So, but I brought this just to show you that you're not alone.
It's
and I have 3. So I have 3 copies of this, and this isn't even my favorite movie of all time. So I guilty as charged.
And honestly, I did feel silly.
No.
But I'm going to pump the brakes. I did feel silly initially, but then I said, you know what? This has stuff that the other ones don't have. And I'm a huge fan. And
it's a favorite. If it's a favorite.
Absolutely. I don't do this with every film.
No.
This, I would pick up any Rocky, Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring.
Right.
And that's probably about it. I don't go any. Yeah.
And I know that to be true. I mean, I think I know you well enough to know that you're telling the truth, and you're not like hide it guy. You know, like if you're saying it's true. And you know what? I think I've seen enough of what you shared to know that if you go for multiple editions, it's because it's very special to you.
For sure. Yeah.
So sure. I think it's cool that this is one of your collector films. I think that's great.
Yeah. It's a good one.
And I'm excited to see the video. So that's why I didn't show anything, because I don't want to ruin it. So, but I just wanted to show you that I had more than one copy too. So
that's funny.
You're not alone.
Good. Well, friends, if you're watching this, feel free to let us know in the comments below what you think about this movie. And Stephanie and I are going to walk through a few different questions, some conversation things, but please do in the comments, tell us what you think, what your thoughts are on these questions. So is this a film you watch every year?
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, it fits in there sometime between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Okay.
It finds its way in there.
It's a Christmas Eve watch for me. It's like the final preparations for Christmas Day. It's on. So that's when we watch it. Every year. So it's every year. And when you watch it, or is it black and white or color?
Always black and white.
Okay.
I have looked at the color version.
Okay.
And to be quite honest, you know, John, for as much as I go off in different directions, when it comes right down to it, I am a huge fan of classics.
Yeah.
And I am a huge fan of black and white. And I am a huge fan of classics should be in black and white. And that I'm not gatekeeping. Because I know there's a lot of people that appreciate to see what a classic film would look like in color. And I think that's cool
Yeah.
to have that option. But when I look at it in color, I find it so jarring and off. I'm like, no, 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 the mood's all wrong. And I just have to go to black and white.
Hmm.
But that's just me. How about you?
Um, so every year I watch it, it is in black and white, and I've
Uh-huh.
always chosen to watch in black and white. But
Right.
in prep for this today, I did watch it in color this morning for the first
Wow.
time, and I was almost going to pull out the black and white edition, and I thought I have never seen what colors like what they would look like. A lot of these characters, Jimmy Stewart, I've seen in a bunch of other movies, but a bunch of these other people I've never seen what they look like in color and everything, and what Bedford Falls looks like in color. And so I was like, I kind of want to know what they look kind of looks like.
Yeah, that's
So
cool.
yeah, so I did this time for the first time, and Christmas Eve it'll be in black and white for sure. But
Yep.
I was like, this would be fun to see this one. So
All
yeah,
right.
I did do it this one time. But I agree with you.
Welcome.
I love black and white films, and I don't want them to be messed with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
So
we saw what happened to the Munsters in color.
well, I didn't see it, but
Well, we all know what happened.
I
Didn't
took your
bode well.
advice. Yeah, I did
Yeah.
watch that one.
That needed to be in black and white.
Yeah. Oh, I think it would have been awesome.
Yeah.
Now, thoughts on casting? What did you think about the cast?
Thoughts on casting? Well, I love Donna Reed.
She's
I thought,
amazing.
yeah, I thought she was great,
Yeah.
and I love James Stewart too. I mean,
Yeah.
huge fan. I could watch him in anything.
Yeah.
Um, I think my only and I like I said to you, I saw this through different eyes this time for a host of reasons, but one of the things is that I knew we had some talking points, so I focused in more on that,
Okay.
the casting. I think one of the things that I would have liked to have seen is I would have liked to see maybe three actors playing Jimmy Stewart's character,
Okay.
but only because I felt like, okay, we went from the young man when he did the whole thing where he lost his hearing.
Yeah.
For people who haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil it. Well, he did whatever he did to that messed up his hearing.
Yeah.
And then we kind of jumped to him as, he's James Stewart. But he's only supposed to be like 20 maybe.
He was at a high school dance. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's 37 when he filmed this movie. So I
Yeah.
felt like as much as I love seeing him
Right.
for most of the movie, I felt like we needed one more transitional character or actor,
I never thought of that.
maybe to kind of bridge that gap where he was not believable at that age.
Yeah.
Because I was like, what? They're going to a high school dance? No,
It definitely
he's
looks
a
like
man.
it looks like dad is at your dance.
Yeah, and I couldn't buy it. Even at one point in the movie when they say, "What are you, like 28 years old?" I'm looking at the obvious gray streaks on the side, and I'm like, no, no. So I think that was my own. I don't think anybody else could play this part
Yeah.
the way he did, and I definitely like to see him in the movie more than not.
Yeah.
I think maybe it would have benefited from that middle transition character just to get us to where you could believe that maybe this is a young man who's now coming into his own and maybe filling footsteps filling the footsteps of his father.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't buy it.
Yeah. No, that's definitely weird, especially like I think in our culture now, when you're thinking that guy at a high school dance it is super weird.
Yeah, it just didn't fit.
Yeah. I agree.
I mean, he did his best.
He did do his best. I liked it. For me, the casting, because I do watch a ton of older films.
Right.
I love Jimmy Stewart, Donna Reed. Gloria Graham was in there.
Yep.
She's in A Lonely Place with Humphrey
Yep.
Bogart, which was exciting for me. And
Yep.
one of my favorite characters was the uncle, Thomas Mitchell.
Yep.
And I wrote down some of the films that some of my favorites he's been in is Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, Only Angels Have Wings, and Make Way for Tomorrow. And I love him, Thomas
Mm-hmm.
Mitchell, his character in there.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, it was watching this movie, seeing four people who I love every time I see them on the screen. I
Okay.
enjoy that. That's one of the big selling points for me in this movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Huge
Yeah,
fan.
that's cool.
And I think the other thing that I thought was interesting with, so I did a little bit of reading, and I knew this about Jimmy Stewart already, but this was his first film back after serving in the military. And
Okay.
I thought it was interesting how there's some really like the subject matter of what this film is portraying and what he just spent the last 4 years of his life doing.
Yes.
And I wondered, I mean, obviously we can't ask him that question, but like how much of that played into his performance? You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah.
Of what
Yep.
he saw, because he would have experienced the loss of friends, the loss of, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And to then go and do this film
Yeah.
that is really fun a lot of times and folksy,
Yeah.
but it is really heavy other times.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So yeah, I thought it was a great cast. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought the casting was good. Like I said, the only thing that like I would have liked to have seen is maybe a transition character in there.
Yeah.
That's it. And
I
for
never
you know,
thought of that before.
for all of them as a couple.
Yeah, because Donna Reed looks like
Yeah.
your mom's there. Like it looks
Yeah.
like mom and dad are dancing.
Yeah.
Now I want to go to the next question about like favorite scenes. And I will say this: the dance is my favorite scene in the whole movie.
Is it?
Yeah, the floor.
Yeah.
This might spoil stuff, friends. The floor is going to
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
open.
Yeah.
The choreography of the up to the edge and back and up to the edge of the back.
Yeah.
I am laughing the whole time and I just love it. I know what's going to happen. I know what's going to
Yep.
follow after it happens. And it's one of my favorite scenes in the movie. And I know it has nothing to do with necessarily the heart of the film, even though Donna Reed, there is one line Jimmy's mom says at the beginning that I missed before, that she has the answers.
Mm-hmm.
And so there is this really beautiful thing. And even when they were a kid, what she whispers into his ear
Yes.
that he can't hear from, it's
Yes.
just
Yes.
like, it's so good.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you, one of my favorite scenes is in the beginning with the pharmacist
Okay.
when he intervenes
Yeah.
with the pharmacist, because I think that is it was such a huge moment. And you just see from a young age what a compassionate, caring person this
Yeah.
young man is. And it's not something we see a lot today.
Yeah.
So I loved seeing that and the genuine caring for someone else, even if it was difficult for him to get through to this guy. He's like, I am not going to let him do something that will just ruin him.
Yeah.
And then it comes back, you know, with Clarence later.
Yeah.
But I thought that's an amazing scene. I love when they're walking home from the dance and the
That's the
singing.
best.
I
Yeah.
love that. I think it's so sweet.
Yeah.
I love and I probably have a bigger list than you here. You just love the whole thing, but like I love the honeymoon.
Yeah. That was so sweet.
Like I think that it was just so thoughtful
Yeah.
and showing like that she is going to stand behind him and make it work and make the adjustments to make it work so he can be who he needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought that was so thoughtful, where you would have someone else who was in that character maybe sitting in the car pouting.
Right.
She made it work
Yes.
so that he could be who he needed to be and she could get what she wanted to have.
Right.
And they could still have that special time together.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool. And then I thought like there were some funny moments, like when we picked up on the cops being named Bert and Ernie, which I
That's
never
good.
picked up on before.
Yeah.
And I would say my last like my funny moment was when he is talking to that awful Mr. Potter.
He's the worst.
He's the worst. But then when he goes and he sits down in the chair in the bank and like he sits way down, he's like hardly able to see over the desk.
Yeah.
And that just, I don't know, it just hit me. It hit me weird. I couldn't stop laughing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, he's like, ah. But those were some of my standout favorite scenes
Yeah.
from
So,
last night.
and I think some of those moments you're talking about did an amazing job of setting you up for what's going to happen, because
Yes.
he started so, you're right, so compassionate, and where a lot of people would say that's not my problem, he didn't approach it that way. And you see this like such warm, open, giving heart for so long.
Yeah.
But he had dreams like going, yeah, it's cool, it's your turn, it's your turn, it's your turn, it's your turn. I'm just really hoping I get my turn.
Yep.
And Donna Reed's character, you're watching her like that honeymoon scene, and everything, and even just like her wanting that home, and she
Yeah.
is trying so hard to pour
Yeah.
life and hope into that guy when he
Yeah.
starts to struggle and come down the other side. And I felt really bad for her at times because, you know what I mean? I wanted
Yeah.
her to have the guy she wanted to have, who was just all in.
Yeah.
And but his head, he was his heart and head, he just had so many dreams to do so many things. um yeah, but I thought it was a really
Yeah.
sweet couple. And you're right, that scene after the dance walking back is just so good.
Yeah.
Really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very sweet, very funny. Something that if you stay a couple, you'll look back on and you'll appreciate.
Yes.
Like you'll always remember that.
Yes.
That's one of those moments.
And she sings it later. She's singing that song when he comes
Yes.
home,
Yes.
and she
Yes.
just keeps trying to bring him back. Like, come on. Like,
Yeah.
it is really good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's so with that, you and I mentioned, it's funny, you mentioned all funny scenes and like positive and joyful. A lot of people, when you mention this film, they'll say, I don't consider this a Christmas movie and I don't like it, and it's kind of depressing. So the film has like so much positive stuff, I think, and really funny lines.
Yeah.
I was laughing out loud numerous times today. Why do you think sometimes it gets seen as, or kind of labeled as, this is just a really depressing film and maybe not even considered to be a Christmas film?
Well, I definitely, and I don't know if it's because of where I'm at personally at the moment, but I definitely connected to that part this time
Yeah.
very deeply. And I felt bad for him. I felt like it was a very authentic performance from him, because this is a man who from a young age had these big dreams and aspirations, and he had what he wanted his life he already knew what he wanted his life to look like, but the life that he's living is nothing like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you see, as time goes on, you see like the anger and you see the frustration and you see the disappointment in the life that he has lived versus what his dreams were. And those dreams are still there. But like you see him, like one that scene that stands out is when he's they're at the house when he has that little neighborhood that he's built. What is it called? Bailey something, Bailey Farms or something, Bailey
Yeah, Bailey
something.
Farms. Yeah.
Okay, and they show him and they're giving, here's the bread for this so they're never hungry, here's the salt, here's the wine, whatever. And like you see at the end of it, like he's happy, and he goes and he kicks the door of the car. Like he's putting on the face that he needs to put on every single day of his life, and he's doing something that he absolutely can't stand.
Yeah.
And then he just finally gets to a point where he snaps and he doesn't want the kids and he doesn't want the house and he doesn't want her and he doesn't want this life. But I don't think he ever wanted it. And I think that is where it's almost like a fractured plot, because it's a double life. Like he doesn't want what he has, but he doesn't not want it.
Right.
But I think he wanted it at a different time in a different way. I think he needed to get what he needed, what his dreams were. I think he needed to get that done and out first. And then he would have been more comfortable settling down. But there is a part of him who is very much his father.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I don't think he wanted to deal with that at that time.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of thrown upon him.
Yeah.
And I think he never let go of that underlying current of anger, which anyone would have.
Yeah.
When he's seeing other people in his life move on and do things and follow their dreams and make money and just live what they wanted to live. And he's just living something that was like, here, this is what you're doing.
Yeah.
So I can understand why people say, yeah, this is not a happy movie, because he's miserable through most of the film. He really is unhappy. Like, I don't mean it. I don't mean miserable in a like a miserable human being or a bad person.
Not at all.
He's
Not
got a
at all.
heart of gold.
Yeah, he does.
It's just that for him, it seems like the timing was all wrong.
Absolutely.
And I think that's, how do you reconcile that within yourself?
Yeah.
Like
Because he's
if you had
not
these,
selfish.
no,
Not
he's
at
a
all.
very good person. He's a very
Yeah.
kind person, but everyone has their limits and we see him reach his.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What's your take on it?
No, I agree with you. I think that he yeah, I think yeah, he is not a selfish person, and he
No.
really did celebrate other people succeeding and other people getting it. But he, again, the performance was great, and that you do see it on his face. He twinges every once in a while, like, this is great for you. And sometimes what's great for someone else actually slowed his dream. Like when his brother gets back
Yep.
and he was offered a job somewhere else, but he was supposed to take the job he's got so that he could go do the thing he wanted to do.
Yep.
And so he was super excited for his brother and everything going on in his life. But you see him privately go, this is now ruining the plans that I had, the thing that I thought I was going to do. And so he's constantly trying to, I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to do all this. And I know in the future I'll get to do the thing I'm looking to do. But as we all know in life, like life just happens. And then eventually sometimes you find yourself going, that was a dream I had 30 years ago and I never
Yeah.
got to fulfill it. And you do have to reconcile it. And I think, by the end of the film, I do think there's this realization of, because life, so I think part of life is there are certainly things that I've wanted to do that I didn't get to do.
Right.
And I think that's life. And it's the worst, you know what I mean? And but to not be, I love that at the end, he gets a glimpse of, and his brother says it, his brother comes back and does the toast. He's the richest man in town, but his kids are still all over the map.
Yep.
He hates the drafty house. It's the
Yep.
podunk town. The
Yep.
rail keeps falling off.
Yep. Yep.
Everything is the same, but he recognized I'm actually insanely wealthy. And so while it's different, it's still really, really good. And so
Yeah.
for me, I love that switch. But for the depressing part, yeah, if you were in the middle of walking through a loss of dreams, things that you wanted, you hope for, things that you feel like, I feel like I've earned this. Like I've worked so hard. I've helped other people get what and I just want, and he doesn't want the world. He wants to travel. That's all he wants to
Yeah.
do. Travel, go
Yeah.
to college, come back and be a good guy.
Yeah.
And that's not a lot to ask, but life didn't go that way for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
I mean,
tough.
I think I connected to that because I have spent the entirety of my life wishing I could get out of where I live.
Yeah.
And I have lived in the same 5 square miles my entire life. And I worked at a family business that I didn't want to work at, that I didn't enjoy, that I didn't like. I couldn't stand going there every day, but I did it and I did it well.
Yeah.
But I never, ever forgot that there were things I wanted to do and places I wanted to see that I'm probably never going to go and see. It doesn't mean that I'm not grateful for the life I have.
Yeah.
But when I saw that in him, I was like, I get that.
Yep, for sure.
And when we get to a certain age and certain things happen and you realize how short and how fleeting life can be,
Yeah.
you start to think about like, did I make bad decisions? Or like, should I have done that thing when I had the chance? But like, you can't rewind life.
Right.
So you just have to kind of go forward and just be grateful for what you have today.
Yeah.
But I can understand like, because they played him as like what maybe a 30-year-old man at tops, even though he was 37 when he was supposed to be 17 or 18. He was 37 years old in that movie.
By the end, he's got what, 4 kids, 3 kids,
Four
kids?
kids. He's got 4 kids and he's yelling, what are all these kids? Why do we have to have all these kids running around in here? And I'm like, ooh, daddy's having a bad day.
But that is like real life. Like
That
everybody
is real
gets to
life.
that place and you're like, yeah, it is so funny. Like, so, when kids enter the picture for us or for our friends and they're like, man, there are so many things I want to do, but guess what? That's your life now. Like it's so you see him in the anger and there are moments where it's humorous. And then there's
Yeah.
other moments where you're like, yeah, man, I get that. Like you thought you were going to get to do this and
Yeah.
you got different responsibilities now.
Yeah.
And with all those kids there, this idea you have of traveling the world, well, until that last one turns 18, you probably don't have a free schedule to do that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it can be really challenging and difficult. So so I totally get why it can seem to be, some people say, oh no, this is a depressing film. And maybe even the season, you mentioned the season of your life, like wherever you are in your journey of life,
Yeah.
it may color and change how you view the film and how you experience
Yeah. 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 I mean, there have been plenty of days that I walked in here and I'm like, I get up in the morning and I remember days when I woke up and look outside and I'd go make my coffee and I'd sit on the deck and I'm like, now I have four dogs that want my attention. And I know I don't have kids, but they are my equivalents of infants. They're permanent infants.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, how did we get four dogs in this house? And Kelly's like, you adopted
Yeah.
them. I'm
And
like, oh yeah, that's right.
you're
All
responsible for all four,
I'm
all of their
responsible for
needs.
all four all the time.
Uh-huh.
And like we make plans to go somewhere and I'm like, oh yeah, somebody has to let the dog out in 6 hours, or in
Yeah.
6 hours, like, can they make it 6 hours? Like, yeah, their
Uh-huh.
kids are like dogs and kids, and responsibility was what it comes down to. And
Absolutely.
when you make a choice to have a responsibility, that responsibility happens whether you are in a place for it or not,
It's true. Yeah.
and they have to come first.
Yeah.
Kids, pets, whatever.
So there's a sacrificing of your dreams. Like once those responsibilities come in, like
Yeah.
I now need to sacrifice the stuff I wanted to do for you. And
Yes.
it can lead you to a bitter place sometimes. And I know in life
Yeah.
for me, there has been like when you get work and the responsibilities, all of it lands and it can lead you to a place of bitterness. So it is tough. And so I think the movie is a great look at just our human condition, our human
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
And, some people look, and I will say there's lines in this movie that, especially if you don't watch a lot of older stuff, that you're going to go, this is so hokey, like gee willigers, those kinds of things. And that might seem just like, that's not real life. But from 46, you have to consider it was in 46,
Yeah.
but it still portrays stuff that we deal with today, that you still walk through today.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It still applies. Life is life.
Yep. Now, why do you think so? The film, now considered a classic, but it bombed in theater and lost at the time over $500,000, which at the time again is enormous. Like
Yeah.
now they're like whatever.
Yeah.
At the time, that was a massive bomb. Why do you think it bombed? Obviously, we weren't alive kicking around at the time, but
Well, I think maybe a lot of it maybe it had to do with how they marketed it.
true.
Maybe if they marketed the film as a Christmas film, and maybe people went to see it and they found it not to be as Christmassy as maybe they had
True.
hoped. Um,
True.
it's definitely a film that has a lot of character depth to it,
Yes.
and you have to be willing to go along with all parts of those characters, even the messy parts.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes when people go to see something that's considered a Christmas film,
Uh-huh.
they just want all the feel good, happy vibes, giving gifts, gratefulness, family dinners,
Uh-huh.
traditions. And I think that this is a film that, it can be billed as a Christmas film, but you're going to see it more from a sense of reality
Yeah.
and how messy life can get. And it doesn't mean you're not grateful for your life. It just means that life gets messy, even if
Yes.
it's Christmas,
Yeah.
and I think that we have sold this idea that at Christmas, everything is perfect.
Yeah.
And I think that this is a film that maybe showed us that, yeah, you can be grateful, you can be happy, you can be festive, you can be joyous, but there's still that real part of your life that you have to deal with, like bills and money and keeping your business afloat and clothes on your kids' backs. And that's not always easy. It's not always pretty. And maybe that's not what people wanted to see with a Christmas film, because like I said, I think we have this fantasy about what the holiday season is.
Yeah.
But the fact is, people still have hard times during the holiday season, and maybe that's not what audiences wanted to see from this film.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but I don't know how they marketed the film. So
Well, in this, I was just literally, I never thought of the marketing piece. So you just said it now. But in this edition of the film,
mhm.
it does come with um, postcards of the original lobby cards and newspaper advertisements.
Okay.
And so you're right. Like this one, it would have been an original lobby card that you would have seen in theater, and it's red and green. Like that screams Christmas.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is a hard movie. So it screams Christmas. Yeah, the other ones are, this was a newspaper advertisement. Oh, this is embarrassing. I got to do this for the first time.
Love it.
I am old. The gloriously thrilling story of a man who was cornered by the kind of a woman he shouldn't love and wanted by the kind of woman he couldn't help loving, and the picture that wraps you in romance, laughter, and deep dramatic excitement. He had everything but money.
Hmm.
The glowing love story of the richest man in town who didn't have a dime. So again, the kind of glowing love story, like it's not really that. It's,
No,
you know, you'll never forget these wonderful scenes. Share their love, their laughter, their tears, make their memories yours. So again,
no.
it's kind of promoted like this is a really cutesy love story. And
Yeah.
post-war, that's probably what they're looking for. Like, get me out of the reality of loss and everything is awful,
Right.
and
Right.
show me something that just soothes me. And this certainly wouldn't have.
No, this drags you through everything.
Yeah,
It's more, I think it's more rooted in reality than people would have expected. And then
true.
you also have the title, It's a Wonderful Life. But then you're
Yeah.
showing the exact opposite in a lot of
Life
it,
is the worst.
life is the worst, you know, but
Forget your dreams. You're going to hate
yeah,
your kids. You'll hate your
yeah,
marriage.
yeah, bag your dreams because they're not happening.
Yeah.
But I think that
They got duped.
maybe, yeah, maybe it was just misinterpreted and, you know, we didn't have social media obviously, but all it takes is a few people saying, hey, it's not, that's not what you're going to get, go see
Yeah.
something else instead,
Yeah.
because it's going to make you depressed and sad and angry, and it's not really a Christmas movie, even though we have, it's at, takes place partially at Christmas time, but
Yeah. And
so
it's like 2 hours and 10 minutes of that.
yeah. And I think what, 10 minutes is Christmas. Like, you know, like it's not a lot of Christmas in it.
No. And yeah, 2 hours and 10 minutes. So
Yeah.
I watch a ton of stuff from this era, and
Yeah.
most of them are like 90-minute movies.
I was shocked at the runtime when I looked at it.
Yeah. So it is
Long.
long and it's
Yep.
hard.
Yep.
And like if you haven't seen it, some people also, I think the reason some people might consider it, and it may be even triggering for some, is it does deal with the subject of suicide
Yep.
as well.
Yep.
And so it is really, really heavy. It does say it's a
Yep.
wonderful life. It was green. It's romance. It's love.
Yep.
It's make memories. We
Yep.
just got out of the war. Life is great.
Yep.
And it's like, no, 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 you hate everything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it
Everything
is
still
difficult.
sucks.
In fact, some stuff you thought maybe didn't suck, it does suck.
It really sucks. It's
Yeah.
a sucky life.
It should have been called This Life Sucks
Yeah. This life sucks. It's a sucky life.
with Jimmy Stewart. Although
Yeah.
at the
With
studio,
Jimmy Stewart.
yeah, the guy you wanted for this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it is difficult. So I do understand. I find it to be, there's so much joy in it, so much fun. I find it very uplifting. But
Yeah.
it is hard. It is
Yeah.
hard, and it does make you think stuff. And you're sitting there watching it, going, "Yeah, I feel that," or
Yeah.
"I've been there," or
Yeah.
"I could totally see myself being there."
Yeah.
Yeah. So why do you think it switched and became like one of the most beloved films, going from a theatrical bomb to now we all have multiple? We have 3 and 4 copies of it.
Well, I think that, you know, I think a lot of films come full circle. There
Sure.
are plenty of things that, maybe they bombed and then they developed a little bit of cult following and then it grew and grew and grew and grew. And now it's, a film that everybody is like, where is this? We need the high res copy. We want 4K. We want a box set. We want goodies. We want, and these are films that nobody would have gone to see in the drive-in or the theater or whatever. And maybe over the years, once we got away from those post-war years and just kind of settled into real life, maybe people got more comfortable with, hey, life can be a lot of things. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean that your life is bad. It just means that through life, you're going to have a lot of ups and a lot of downs, but it comes down to, are you going to stay with it?
Yeah.
Are you going to see it through? And is there hope at the end? And I think that maybe the tolerance of the audiences grew.
Sure,
And
that's
like you
true.
said, even the runtime, like maybe we got used to sitting in a theater. Maybe theaters were more comfortable. I don't know, like
Yeah.
maybe maybe people got more used to sitting for a 2-hour movie. And also when we got to like home video
Yeah.
eventually, where people could watch it in their homes and enjoy it with family members. And Like you said, it's a Christmas Eve tradition for you.
Yep.
And I think that I think the farther we get away from things, sometimes the more appreciation we have for them, the classics,
Yeah.
because we look back and we're like, if life could just be like that now.
Hmm.
So I think a lot of things probably have just changed over the years
Yeah.
that made us more appreciative of what were difficult times then, but to us seem simpler times.
Right.
Like, I wish I could just go to a guy when I needed help with my house and he would be kind enough to say, I will help you. And if you can't pay me next month, pay me the next month.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you're not going to find that.
Yeah.
And I think what maybe we grew to appreciate too is like the kindness and the generosity and the person who's willing to go without so you can go ahead. And like we all have to kind of come together and you help me and I help you. And there's a lot of kindness and generosity in the people in general.
Hmm.
And I think they kind of learned that from him and his father before him.
Yeah.
And we just don't really have that now.
Sure.
So I think that us and not even that far away from us, for a few decades, like looking back saying, don't you wish you had that now?
Yeah.
Like when you could go in and get a mortgage on a handshake. That doesn't happen.
No.
My mom and dad got a mortgage on a handshake.
Yeah.
We'd never get that now. You need 27 forms of ID and your last 10 years of, work papers and all kinds of things. But, we
Yeah.
always long to go back. Like, I long to go back to the time when there was no social media.
Sure.
So I think it has to do with maybe our appreciation of things that we don't have, which is kind of reflective of the movie.
Yeah.
Like you learn to appreciate what you have and what, maybe what you wish you had,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think tradition definitely
Yeah.
helps with that, it perpetuating it to become a classic.
Yeah.
Um, longer time. I think it's interesting because I watch a lot of these older movies, but when I also like watch them and I'm on Wikipedia at the same time, looking at these
Yeah.
actors and their lives, and on the screen, it's like, this is so beautiful and simple. But a lot of these people married like 6, 7 times,
Oh, yeah.
massive substance abuse issues. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, they were going through hell in
Yeah.
their personal life, but they were portraying. And so how much was studios wanting to, in those war years of life is great, like we're America is. And so it is interesting because I watched it and like he was going to go to prison over $8,000. I was like, man,
Yeah.
what that's nothing.
Nothing would have, no one even missed that today.
So there is that too. I think, yeah, I think probably the home video release, I think every year it became a staple on TV. So while it was in theaters for
Right.
a period, then
Right.
it became a staple. I do think maybe we're okay with, especially like depending on the generation, but like our Gen Xers are
Yeah.
almost live in, like our music was life is hard, like especially if you're like into like the 90s generation stuff, like
Yep. Yep.
life is hard. So music is the dichotomy of the good and the bad. And
Yep.
we're very comfortable with delving into life is good, but also life is really hard.
Yep.
So this is a movie I feel very comfortable with, that it's both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're okay with the darkness.
Yeah. It's life is both. You can't,
Yeah. Life is, yeah. It's not, life is a black and white cookie. Like there's not just one side,
Yeah.
but I think that, I think back then, I think with things being more simple, I think it was harder for people to have to actually face that darkness because I think there was a lot of darkness in that time.
Sure.
And they went to entertainment probably to forget all that.
Yeah.
Where we're like, yeah, bad things happen and good things happen. And that's just life.
And with like social media and like at the time, they didn't have 24-hour news cycle where
No,
we're confronted with horrific images of violence and death
all the time.
24 hours a day.
Yep.
It's all over the internet and it's all over the news. It's on your phone, it's newspaper, TV. Yep. You're constantly confronted with violence, shootings, bombings, everything.
Yep.
And they didn't have that nonstop. And we're almost like desensitized
Yep.
They like if you showed them just our news channel, someone in
Oh,
46, it probably would be mortifying.
yeah. They'd
Like,
be like, what are you doing? What happened?
yeah. And they
Yeah.
obviously knew the tragedy of death, like the amount of
Sure.
people who died in war. But I don't think you're being as visually confronted with it like we are.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we get live feed from wars going on around the world right now, and
Yeah.
you're seeing the death and everything. And
Yeah.
that's just a different level.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're bombarded. Like we're on
Yes.
sensory overload all the time.
So this kind of tragedy for us is a little tamer when you
Yes.
confront it. Like if I turned on CNN right now or this is Sesame Street compared
Yeah.
to what's on the news right now.
Yeah.
Even though this is very challenging and difficult.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
I still found it incredibly sad in parts though,
for sure.
because I wanted him to have his dreams.
And you
He was
see
such a
him,
good guy. He was such a good guy. He
yeah,
deserved that.
from the opening scene with his
Yes.
brother to the older fella,
Yep.
everybody. He's just always been that guy. So you do
He
your
deserved it.
heartbreaks.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, it's like he didn't
Yeah,
even get a year. Like, like, come on, give the guy a bone. But like,
yeah.
that wasn't who he was born to be.
And it does show you can be alone in that. Like, and Donna Reed loved him so well. Like
Yep.
loved him so much, was there for him,
Yep.
supported him. And what she did for the honeymoon was so sweet and so
Yeah.
perfect. You couldn't
Yep.
ask for better. But you do wonder, like, does she get what he needs to do for his soul?
No.
The level. And you're right. No, I don't think she does.
No.
As sweet and amazing, you couldn't ask for someone more devoted and loving,
Yep.
but she doesn't understand it. And that can be true in our lives, that the
Yeah.
person with our kids, our parents, our siblings, they don't know maybe what the thing is that we really need to get out of us, you know? Um,
Like she probably never got the full version of him,
yeah. I mean, if
which
we
is,
have to go to Rocky, we will. But when he's in that meat cellar with Paulie and he's
yeah.
like, there's something inside that's got to get out, and Paulie just doesn't understand. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes there is. And for him, it was deeply affecting. And for Jimmy, it's just his heart was constantly breaking.
Yeah. Yeah. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough.
So what's the overall message you walk away with? And again, depending on how you watch the movie, what time of life you watch the movie, it can be
Yeah.
different. What did you kind of walk away with? Because I know you and I talked about it. We saw different things this time, impacted us differently.
I think what I walked away with is that life is not always going to be the picture that you painted in your head, because sometimes that's just it's a dream.
Yeah.
And just because it's a dream, it doesn't mean it's going to manifest itself into reality.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe that's not a bad thing. It may be a hard thing to deal with. But I, in order to keep moving forward, like our character, I have to accept that I am where I am supposed to be at this moment, doing what I'm supposed to do. Because if you don't, if you start wishing and wanting for things that you just can't make happen, you're going to end up like him on that bridge.
Yeah.
And there's not always going to be Clarence.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want to be that,
Yeah.
because you will destroy what you've left behind.
Oh gosh. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think, you have to kind of try to live, and I'm trying to learn this myself, like we talked about earlier, not in this video, but personally, like live in this moment.
Yeah.
Whatever this moment may be, because you don't know what tomorrow is and you can't change yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So I think with this watch, I kind of walked away with trying to find an appreciation for the moment that I'm in, even if it's not the moment that I picked
Right.
or the moment that I hoped for. It's the moment that I'm in.
Yeah.
And there's nothing I can do to change it except sit with it and accept it and, do my best.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe that makes life wonderful, because every day is going to be different,
Yeah.
and tomorrow might be much better than today. And it could also be a heck of a lot worse. So,
Right.
I don't know. What do you think? What was your take this time? Or is it
Um,
the same all the time for you?
no, if I'd watched this oh, probably like even 7 years ago,
Mhm.
it would have been more connecting with Jimmy on just the struggle part, and just and more challenging. And I think I spent a lot of years working through and trying to get like a bunch of that. And so I would say, so today I see it as it's more of an uplifting thing. By the end of it, I'm like, yeah, man, you are so rich. But I didn't, a handful of years ago, I would have been like, but no. And you mentioned it, like you said, the difference between what you have and what you don't have. And you said that a second ago. And I think if I made, I can and have at times in life spent a lot of time writing the list of what I don't have. But when you stop and focus on the other one and go, and that's okay to do that. And I think it's all right. And no one should feel shame for going, I really wanted this. I didn't get to do this or have this or be this or whatever. That's okay. Totally okay to do. And you should do it, I think, just to confront it.
Mhm.
And then, but also write the other list of all the things you do have.
Yeah.
And what I've found in life, if you're honest with what you do have, it's going to so overwhelm what you don't have. And like even the movie, going back to one of our favorite films, 9 Days, like
Yeah.
the fact that you're here is insane. And do you have someone to do life with? Have you laughed today? Did you have a good meal today? Like, did you? And Stephen Colbert, I watched an interview him and Anderson Cooper did. And Stephen Colbert lost, I think, his dad and three brothers in an airplane crash when he was a kid.
Wow. Wow.
And Anderson lost his mom.
And
And
brother.
they were talking about grief back and forth.
Yeah.
And Stephen said to him, I'm not going to get the quote at all right, but he said, if you want all of the great moments, you have to also take all of the dark moments. You cannot have all of this without this, because that's life.
Absolutely.
That's humanity. That's the human
Yeah.
experience.
Yep.
And so I've tried to, I don't do great at it all the time, but I've tried to put a little more emphasis in my life. Like, what do I do have?
Yeah.
Because, yeah. So when you and I've talked about this, I help facilitate this group for people who are grieving.
Yeah.
And every week, man, it is a reminder I'm here. And
Yeah.
a lot of the people I love are here. And I've got a lot of good friends who don't have that. And man, it is so, but what's amazing too, is I've got really good friends in this group now who will tell you, I am so grieving over who I lost, but my life is still, I have great things. I have this
Yeah.
group to be a part of. I have this. I went to lunch today with a friend. So it's a good movie. It's a tough movie because it confronts so many dark things. And I think an affirming movie of like, yeah, but also this really long list of other stuff too. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was definitely a challenging watch for me this time
yeah,
for reasons.
sure.
Um, but probably important
Yeah.
to just sit in the moment and just be like, all right, it'll be okay.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
And things are out of your hands.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the one thing we do have control over is what we do with ourselves in the moment.
Yeah.
And that is not to be toxic positivity, saying everything's awesome, because you know what?
No.
So many times things
Yeah.
suck, and it's okay to say this sucks.
Yeah. I hate when people
Ugh.
post everything happens for a reason. I'm like, no,
No, it doesn't. You can't always find the
no, it
reason.
doesn't.
There's no reason.
No, there's a lot of
No.
stuff in life that there is no reason for that. That is just
Yeah.
wrong, not good. And I
Yeah.
think Jimmy, if it had been kind of a classic 30s, 40s, 50, oh
Yeah.
shucks, but I'll do my
Yeah.
best, then it would be like, well, that's not real. And for him to get to the place of, you know what, I have more than I think I have, he had to rage it out emotionally. Like he had to punch
Yeah.
the cop. He had to do
Kick the car.
yeah, he had to do all of those things to get to the place. So if you don't confront all the ghosts, you'll never come to a place of honest gratitude. You have to confront all of the ghosts and all of the struggle to get to the place where you're like, but I do have this. So I was thankful in the movie they don't go over that. Like they don't brush it away.
Yeah.
It gets dark and
Very
he goes to dark
authentic.
places. Yeah.
I have not personally ever gotten to the stand up and cheer moment. I'm just not able to get there yet,
Sure. Yeah.
but I try
Yeah.
and I watch it. It
Yeah.
just kind of, I'm like a little Teflon with that.
Sure.
But that's my personality too.
Mhm.
Like I think I'm afraid to be too happy
Yeah.
because I always wait for that other shoe to fall. And that's not to be toxic negativity.
No.
That's just been my experience.
Yeah.
And when we go into anything, any situation, we take with us our experiences.
For sure.
So yeah, it was very challenging this time.
Yeah.
But I felt like it was also important for me to watch it at this time. And like I say, everything comes to us for, when we need it.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that you said, let's do this video. And I'm like, yeah, let's just do it because it's good for me. And
Sure.
it really was good for me.
Yeah.
It didn't feel good in the moment, but I got it. I connected with it.
Yeah.
I didn't stand up and cheer yet, but I can
Yeah.
appreciate things that maybe I didn't appreciate this time yesterday.
Sure.
I
Yeah.
have some appreciation for the little moments and the little small victories
Yeah.
that I didn't have yesterday.
Hmm.
So that's a good thing.
Interesting.
So I think that maybe some of us just take smaller steps.
Yeah.
Maybe one day I'll cheer. And that's okay.
You know
It's
what?
okay. It's okay. I'm
It is
okay with
okay.
that. I'm
And
okay with that.
I'm also like um I I feel best about this movie cheering with tears in your eyes.
Oh God.
Do you know what I mean? Like going,
Yeah.
yep, but,
Yep.
and holding those two things together.
Yeah.
Like at the end of like even Jojo Rabbit, I
Yeah.
laugh, I laugh and cry in the
Oh
final
yeah.
scene because it's both dark pain and joy at the same time. And I think that's just life. And I think I'm going to get to the end of my life and it'll always be that to the very end.
Yeah.
It's the both. It's
Yeah.
the cheer with the tears in my eyes kind of thing. And
Yeah.
yeah. So no, I
So
think
this
you're
is going to
right.
be the Who Cries First, John or Stephanie video. They were crying at the end.
Yeah. I had to shut it off.
Shut it off.
I don't go to YouTube for this foolishness.
This is debauchery.
Yeah.
What is this? It's honest. It's honest.
Yeah. And I think this,
Yeah.
again, it shows you the power of film. Like, and not every movie is going to be this, but I think it shows you the power of film that you watch certain things and it'll get you and it'll or at least make you think or make you question stuff or work through stuff or, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the beauty of film and the beauty of being able to watch something that maybe you've seen 20, 30 times.
Yeah.
And just that one time you watch it, it hits you a little different.
Yeah.
And I think that's an amazing gift that film and art give us. And that's probably why I love it so much.
Yeah. That's true.
And it's just so cool. And then to be able to talk about it with a good friend is like, it's just an amazing gift.
When
it
I
really is.
It is. And when I mentioned it, I laugh because that what you just said, to be able to talk to it with a friend, the art, the story, all that stuff. I remember I recently said to someone, they asked me, why do you collect so many movies? And I was like, because I love story. I just love stories because they take you, and they just blank stared me. And I was like, so when you say to be able to talk to a good friend about it who gets it, this story is good and it's important and it can change us. And my friend the other day, it was very funny. They just a blank stare.
I get that all the time. Kelly said she was at work and she was mentioning something about a 4K, and the person's like, what is 4K? And Kelly's like, a few years ago, I would have never been able to explain it. She was still on VHS and VCR. And I was like, you don't have a DVD player? And she said, no. I'm like, oh, come into my house. But it's just so funny because she said, people, they don't know what 4K is. They're like, oh, well, what do you stream?
No.
But, we are in this community because we are passionate about film.
Right.
Whatever kind of box it comes in or container. I mean, that's all bonus stuff. But the bottom line is that little disc or that tape that you put in and that experience that you have, and then the friend that you want to run to and talk to about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Gets it and loves it as much as you do. And that's what this community is built on. And that's why we love being a part of it.
It always makes me laugh when someone says, a friend outside of the film community, who says, "Oh, so you collect DVDs?" It's like, I Rarely, every once in a while, I'll grab a DVD,
Yeah,
but
I
it
have
always makes
to.
me laugh. You like
Yeah,
DVDs? Yeah, I guess.
yeah, yeah,
Very funny.
yeah. And then you guys talk about them. Yeah, it's like book club, but it's TV,
Yeah, absolutely.
movies. Yeah.
So no, it is good.
So yeah, no, this was awesome.
Yeah, thanks for doing this, Stephanie. I really appreciate
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. Thank you for having me. It's always a joy to talk to you, really.
It is
Seriously.
fun. I've been looking forward to this.
Me too.
Um, is there another film like traditionally Christmassy holiday film that is a part of your every year that you will watch?
Yeah, probably not one you would watch, but the
How many
last
people
night.
get killed?
No one. It's
Okay.
fun. The
All
last
right.
night with Seth Rogen.
The last night. Oh no, I've never seen that. I know which
It's
film you're talking about.
yeah, it's about three lifelong friends who
Uh-huh.
they go out every Christmas Eve, and Seth Rogen is Jewish, and then there's another guy who's Christian, and I think the other guy's black, and they all have their different traditions, but they're best friends.
Okay.
And two of them are settled down, and the one guy, he's still single, and they're like, dude, this is the last year we're doing it because we have kids, we have family, babies on the way. We just can't do it anymore. And they just go out and they go wild. And as Seth Rogen's leaving, I told Dave one of my favorite parts of the movie is when he's leaving and she gives him a little Altoids box and he goes, oh, I'm gonna need these. She goes, just open it up. And it's just filled with drugs. She goes,
Oh
I
my
want you to have a good
gosh.
time. She goes, I want you to have the best time.
That's
And
wild.
they just go out, they wear ugly sweaters, they do all kinds
Uh-huh.
of things, and it is laugh out loud funny and it never gets
Okay.
old. So yeah,
That's
you might
funny.
like it.
Maybe
Not child appropriate, but make sure there's no
no.
kids in the room.
I have seen it because I've seen the ugly sweaters and I read the back and yeah,
It's funny. It's really funny. It's legit funny. Like
that's funny.
Kelly died laughing. And she wants like, she would watch like Shirley Temple Christmas if it was up to her. And I'm like,
Really?
listen, let's put my speed on. And she's like, can you put that movie on? So yeah,
Okay. Now,
it's
Four
good stuff.
Christmases. Do you guys like
We
that one?
watched that. Yep.
I think that's a fun one.
Yeah, we watched that one.
Yeah.
Krampus.
Krampus will be in there. I'll
Yep.
definitely be watching at least one version of A Christmas Carol. There'll probably be a black and white version and then maybe like a Muppets version of it that'll
Yeah.
happen.
I like the one with I like the Grinch with Jim Carrey.
See, I'm a purist on the Grinch.
I like the purist. I like the
Yeah.
original, the OG. I
Yeah.
like that one too.
The classic Rudolph claymation one or the
All the
stop
Rankin
motion.
Bass stuff. All the
Yeah.
Rankin Bass stuff. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
all the Rankin Bass stuff.
I want to
Um,
see Miracle on 34th Street. I haven't seen it, or 34th. Yeah,
I
34th.
haven't seen that one.
I haven't seen it in forever. So this will be this year I'm rewatching it.
I think I saw it when I was a kid with my grandparents, but not. I can't. I would have to rewatch it.
Okay.
We'll see. Maybe this year. Maybe
Maybe.
I might keep it light this year.
Christmas in Connecticut.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a handful I'll watch. But Krampus will be on a day off when no one's home and just get to crank it and enjoy it.
Krampus,
So,
John.
yeah, I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to
All
it.
right.
I
Yeah.
genuinely am excited about it.
Yeah. It's a fun one.
Well, this was fun, Stephanie. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
This was
Thank you,
great.
John. It was
I was looking
awesome.
forward to this conversation and I enjoyed rewatching it again to get to chat
Yeah.
about it. So,
Yeah. Me too.
So, well, friends, thank you so much for watching this. I always appreciate it. You're already subscribed to Stephanie's channel, but if you are not, then you should make better choices and subscribe because she is killer channel and is putting up amazing stuff all the time. So, currently in the midst of the Blu-ray collection tour, which will destroy all of your wish lists, and you'll be on Amazon constantly adding more stuff. So, it is such a fun video series to watch. So, thank you, Stephanie, and I look forward to the next time we get to chat.
Thank you, my friend. Always a pleasure.
Talk to you soon.
All right.
All right.